Well, Laura Day's self-help books have taken the nation and Hollywood by storm. Her bottom line is this: trust your intuition. With more about her latest book, The Prism, please help me welcome Laura Day. Good morning to you, Laura. It's good to have you on the show.
Good afternoon from London.
Oh my goodness. Well, I am a fan because look, I opened up the book and I couldn't stop reading it. It just started talking to me. Why do you feel the world needed this book?
I think that we have overcomplicated change. And the reality is, a tiny change can dramatically change your entire life. But we think we're making the changes, but we're really doing the same thing over and over again. So we need to be able to have those small changes that don't require us to revamp everything so that we can have better, easier lives.
Yeah, and you talk a lot about that in this book, and there's so many smart sentences in here, just things that really touched me. When you talk about negative patterns that we establish or that we learn throughout our lives, how do you believe we can break them? Because I think that's the tricky part.
So I don't think we break patterns. And you used my most hated word, which is believe, because really what the prism is something that's been developed over decades, and it's proof that you make a small change and you don't break a pattern. You literally look a tiny bit in a different direction, and there is a whole different world. The reason I called it the prism is that our habits really and our experiences confine us to what we see, and studies show we find what we're looking for. What the prism helps you to do is find what you want, and that really doesn't take all the complicated, costly, often very upsetting new habits that we're always told we have to have. It's really this mantra that you are not enough, you are not enough, you need to work harder, you need to work more. Most people are already exhausted, and those flashes of insight that intuition allows you often take you from here to, oh wow, it was right here all the time.
Oh, true words. I love the daily assertions you have in this book as well. They're so clever and so true. Let me ask you this question, because as I was listening to you talk, it really came to my head. A lot of us could be scared of change. What's your advice for saying, I'm actually going to take this change and make something really good out of it?
You know, change is scary because we really don't have our defenses in place. But when you have a goal, all of the sudden, that goal organizes your resources, and change becomes a possible and productive thing. I think part of the reason people are afraid of changes is that we're encouraged to take unsafe, dramatic changes for which we're not prepared. And that's what the prism is about. You know, you don't want to build a structure on a faulty foundation. So the prism starts with, here is an assertion that if you practice it, even for a few days, it changes your foundation, and all of a sudden the entire structure feels better. And I want to slip this in. My 99-year-old father-in-law, Dr. Don Schiff, lives in Littleton, Colorado. He was the town pediatrician. So I want to say we love you, Don.
Yes, a big shout out to him. That's very cool. And what a coincidence. Well,
he's amazing.
I bet he sounds amazing. What was the most challenging chapter in the book to write?
I think the most challenging, well, really the most challenging chapter for me was memoir, because one of the things that I wanted to do is to let people know that it doesn't matter where you start. It's really where you decide you're going. And writing the memoir, sharing that much about myself was hard and kind of a little embarrassing when people bring it up in interviews. You know, the Oprah interview really focused on it, and I thought, oh my goodness, did I actually share that with the public?
Yeah, well, I think when you share moments like that, it really just brings us all in and learn from you. Now, celebrities like Oprah, Uma Thurman, they both recommend your best-selling books. Why do you think that people, especially those who are in the limelight or are leaders, need to pick up what you're putting down?
So, you know, nobody quotes my old nanny, who's now a social worker, who also really uses the book. Um, Celebrity is hard because you are always on the hot seat. And the wonderful thing about the Prism is that while you're doing your life, you're making your changes. Instead of taking 20 minutes here to make a change and an hour here to make a change that takes you out of your life. So I think that people in general who have very full, over full life. And by the way, I think that describes just about all of us, right? We're all living about 3 lives in 24
Yes,
hours.
so true.
Right. This is really meant to be done while you're living life. The other thing is we're taught way too much to look inside of ourselves. You know, if the answer were in there, you'd have the question, you know, you wouldn't be asking the question. What the Prism asks you to do is make a tiny change, actually the one that doesn't resonate with you, because if it resonates with you, it's part of an old pattern. So make a tiny
Ah.
change that's safe, but that you're saying, oh, wow, this is really ridiculous. Try that for a couple of days, and I mean tiny, and notice how the world meets you differently, because sometimes getting exactly what you want is what changes you the most, because then you have to grow to meet it.
Okay, super interesting. So make a change, but a good change that you haven't necessarily made before. Now, before I let you go, this is going to be a big question for me because I'm all about intuition. I always go with my gut. What is intuition to you, and how can we be better listeners to our intuition?
Intuition is the reality that we can move our perceptions all around. And you know, you can now you can search all the scientific experiments on intuition. We all speak to each other over a distance. We all view remote locations. These are tested realities. And the most important thing, though, is that we need to train it because it works as easily against us. And anyone who's had someone angry walk into a party and you don't even see them, but all of a sudden you're tense, and then you notice, experiences, oh wow, that porosity of being, that way we sense everything actually works against us if we don't train it. We train intellect, we train emotions, we train our social skills. We need to train our intuition because it's a part of all of us.
Absolutely, that good stuff. Laura, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us today. This here is a good book, and I can't wait to finish it. Thanks again.
And I can't wait to visit Denver again. I hope a bookstore invites me.
Absolutely, we'd love to have you. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Take care. Okay, everyone, here's the deal on this book, The Prism, 7 Steps to Heal Your Past and Transform Your Future by Laura Day is available now wherever books are sold.